Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And while we're, I think you should all stand because there's a really important day today, and I want everybody to join in with me. There's a young man up here who's having a birthday. So, Commissioner Mays, this is for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Commissioner Mays. Happy birthday to you and many more.
Thank you. You really know how to make a guy feel embarrassed.
Listen, that's what the county clerk is for.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. It's May 4th, 2023. And on my far left is a county clerk and lead singer, Cindy Beck. On my far right is Jim Crowell, who's our county counselor. On my immediate left is Aaron Mays, who represents District 3, and on my right is Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2. I'm Bill Rippon, and I represent District 1. Ms. Clerk.
Can I interrupt just one more time before the whole thing goes? Because
I guess so.
Thank you. My county clerk's election officials association is in town this week, and my staff and I were there yesterday. Today it's election stuff, so we won't be there. But I want to let you know that Commissioner Cook did the greeting and welcomed everybody to Topeka and Shawnee County. He said some very nice things about me, which, you know, he has to. What can I say? But in all you know, just kidding aside, I've been to tons of these things across the state of Kansas, mayors and commissioners and stuff. He did such a good job. He did such an excellent job. I just kept getting comments from the other clerks going, "Wow, you're really lucky." And I said, look what I got to work with here. I'm lucky all the way down the line. But he did an excellent job. And so he got the little Blue Man Award for being such an excellent. And it's just, in case he gets frustrated with the county clerk, it's also a squeeze ball. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you. I was happy to do it.
Well, all right. Madam Clerk, what is first on the agenda?
First item is under 2, unfinished business. A, public hearing recessed from April 20th. Consider approval of resolution number 2023-27, levying and assessing special assessments on certain lots, parcels, and tracts of ground liable for such special assessments to pay the cost of certain street improvements in the Green Hill Point subdivision, Shawnee County, Kansas Street Benefit District, as authorized by County Resolution 2020-43, and providing for the collection of such special assessments.
Good morning, Bob Perry, Bond Counsel. And Aaron, as my youngest would say, may the 4th be with you.
And also with you.
Bill, how do you want me to proceed here? You want me to tell you my proposed solution?
I think that would probably be a good start.
All right. As I stated at the last hearing a couple of weeks ago, when I presented this petition to the commission back in 2020, I was not aware that the 2 large lots were not to be subdivided, which has historically been the case on subdivisions outside the city limits with street assessments and street benefit districts. When I ascertained back in March of this year that those 2 lots were not subdivided, and then talked to Mr. Drippe and did a little bit of work, that was the result of the city of Topeka's planning prohibition to subdivide it because of how they've interpreted their urban density growth requirements. So if you take the total cost of all of the streets of $330,000 and divide that by the 18 lots that are there and assess each of the present 16 lots that were part of the present street improvement district, it's an $18,333.33 assessment as opposed to the proposed $20,625. That means each of the 16 lots within the street benefit district would be paying their proportionate share of the 18 lots. If we are to enlarge the street benefit district to include the 2 lots, which are 9 and 10, I would need a petition from all of the street owners who are not the 2 lots presently included, because I doubt they would agree to signing a petition, as well as the 2 lots that Mr. Drippe owns. To do that would take some time. We'd have to continue this or end this, which, doesn't really solve the problem, because I got to get these streets permanently financed. And if you take the 18, 333, 33, that would have been attributed to lots 9 and 10 that were never included, and put that on to Mr. Drippe's 2 remaining lots, lots 4 and 6. Those 2 lots, 4 and 6, would be paying double the amount, but they'd be sitting on a lot with the entity or the person, which in my opinion, somewhat created a situation by not telling what the hell was what was going on to begin with in 2020. But to put it in proper context, people have to remember that when all of this got started by Mr. Drippe, everything stopped because of COVID. The Planning Commission, the Planning Department prepared its minutes and recommendations in February of 2020. The City of Topeka Planning Commission heard these matters on March the 16th of 2020. The governor of the state of Kansas closed schools on March the 20th of 2020. And sometime during the week of March the 16th, this government entity and its employees were working from home. But my suggestion is we amend the amount of $20,625 to $18,333.33. Assess lots, what would it be? All of the lots within the 16, but for 4 and 6, the 18,333.33. Assess lots 4 and 6, double that amount, $36,666.67, and move the prepayment date back from May the 20th to June 1 or maybe June 10 to give them a bit of time to do the prepayment period. That way I could size an issue and roll this into another assessment proceeding for permanent financing for GO bonds.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Bob, just if we can, maybe break this down a little bit for me. So in 2020, when this was originally presented, it was presented that it was going to be for all but 2 lots, and 2 lots were excluded because we had an assumption that those were going to be roadways to further development.
Yes, that has historically been the case of the assessment proceedings I've done in the unincorporated areas in Shawnee County.
And at the time that we did this, there weren't any houses there yet, the roads weren't there yet. This was pre-construction.
Correct.
Now we are 3 years later, we've got houses built, we've got roads built, and now it's coming time to figure out the financing of the infrastructure to the people that have purchased the lots.
Correct. We created the benefit district as requested by Mr. Drippe in July of 2020. The engineering and public works, Shawnee County Public Works, did all the plans and specs, and they let the bids out, I believe, sometime in the spring of 2021. The streets were put in over a period of time. Historically, based upon past experience, I've waited until, several of the lots were sold to third parties to allow, one, the third party, to know that we've got third people buying the lots, number one. Number two, it lessens the developer's risk of having to sell lots that have assessments already on them. And historically, only a few developers in this county pay all the assessments that are on the lots if they haven't been sold. So it reduces his risk, it reduces our risk in the aspect that we don't have lots, unsold lots with assessments for which no taxes or assessments are being paid. And when the county's picking up the difference, that occurred in '08 when the market crashed. And we had a couple of developers go out of business and no lots were sold. So, there's a risk by waiting, sure, but it's less, in my opinion, based upon experience.
Okay. Rather than having those 2 empty lots be used as roadway for future development, Those 2 lots were then developed, the houses were put onto them, and they were not connected to the sewer mains, but they have their own septic systems.
Right, what I understand from talking with Mr. Drippe is that part of the negotiation on the price of those lots, whenever they were sold, late 2020, 2021, is you're not gonna get served by sewer, so these lots won't be included in the sewer district. And the way the street benefit district was created in July of 2020, I've deduced that that was his decision sometime before he filed a petition, because that allowed him to have a little bit of, just be able to market those lots better.
Now, herein lies my question. When we originally had the resolution in 2020, we did not include those 2 lots.
Correct.
Do we have the ability in 2023 to include those 2 lots outside of going around to the other lot owners and saying, hey, do you want them to be included also? What authority do we have to just unilaterally change the resolution to include everybody?
Very limited. I won't say none, but it's very limited because we're in the unincorporated areas. Now, I've done it, but it requires a home rule resolution or basically a charter resolution. And that requires a 60-day protest period, and all it would take with these 2 lot owners to protest.
Okay. So, all right, that's my questions for now. I don't know if other questions, other commissioners?
Going forward, these 2 lots, they're gonna be assessed double.
No,
Is that, that's not it?
no.
I thought that's what you,
Well, no, if that's your decision, if we have a formal vote and you decide to take what I think would be the easiest solution and the quickest, and that is the 16 lots that are within the benefit district, 14 of those 16 would pay 18,333.33, and lots 4 and 6 would pay double that, because those are still Mr. Drippe's lots, as of 8:30 this morning when I talked to Lori in Cindy's office.
So Mr. Drippe, as a developer, would pay more to basically to offset the cost that, for the 2 lots that are not paying anything.
Sure, but in retrospect, how difficult it is to pick up the phone in 2020 and say, hey, I can't develop these lots. That's why they're not included. Here's what I plan on doing.
okay.
Mind you, either way, this is a difficult decision, but either way, there's 18 lots on which, with our 16 or 15 homes, and they're nice homes. I mean, this has been, in one respect, maybe not from Mr. Drippe's perspective, a successful development, but there's nice homes out there. It's increased the assessed value of the county and Seaman school districts at the very least. The purpose has been somewhat served. It's just that we've got this mess here at the end.
Bob?
Go ahead.
Bob, is there any chance in the future that this lot with the 2 houses, could that ever be part of a separate subdivision? Could that be replatted with those 2? You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah, I do, Bill, and that all is within the city 3-mile limitation, and I don't think that's gonna change, and I don't think the city's gonna change that, because they're the ones that put the restrictions that lots 9 and 10 cannot be subdivided out, and they've put the restriction on that lot 9 shall never have an access to Northwest Green Hill Street. And I would suspect that, the folks in safety would want to have more than one exit onto Green Hill if those lots got subdivided, because that would be a long cul-de-sac with one entrance exit, so if there's an emergency at the end and then an emergency at the beginning of the it's got a mess.
this is an awkward development.
Well, it's, go ahead, Kevin.
So I just want to wrap my mind around again, that the options that we have on the table today. Option 1, we reduce the amount for the owners outside of Mr. Drippe, who's going to pay twice as much as everybody else, on lots 4 and 6.
Correct?
Option 2, we assess it equally to the lots excluding lots 18, or the 2 lots, and we just say, sorry, that's just the way life is,
correct?
Option 3, the county eats the extra cost, which would not be a good plan for the taxpayers.
Well, on the face of all of this, when the two gentlemen were here a couple of weeks ago, whose name I forgot, I apologize. Just on the face of this, of how this ended up on our desk, it doesn't look fair. Because you've got two lots that aren't paying their fair share of the streets. It's just the optics are not fair. It's just that simple. I mean, if the 14 of the present lot owners are adamant that they want everybody to pay their fair share, they can submit a petition requesting that a new street benefit district be created, Green Hill Subdivision Street Benefit District Phase 2 or Version 2, and we start the process over. And if you take the suggestion that I've made, by statute, Mr. Drippy's got 30 days to file an appeal with the District Court of Shawnee County, Kansas, and challenge the fairness of it.
Jim, do we need to go into public hearing?
Yes, this is Jim Kraus, Shawnee County Counselor. Yes, this is a continuation of the public hearing that we had a couple weeks ago. I think given bond counsel's suggested resolution to this issue, we should continue with the public hearing and allow proponents and opponents to have an opportunity to speak on the issue.
Are there any other questions? Okay, I will make the move that we go into public hearing on this issue.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Now in public hearing, so anyone who'd like to speak on this issue?
Commissioners, thanks for the opportunity to come before you guys. My name's Mike Drapé, and my company's Drapé Homes and Drapé Development. We were the developer over there off of Green Hills. As you probably are aware, the people in the housing and development world are getting to be a dying breed these days, and it's tougher and tougher to come up with financing and to deal with the regulation and just to go through the process. So that particular subdivision was only the second one I had ever done. And was kind of, my hands were tied a little bit working with the city and the comprehensive plan and what they would allow you to do in that 3-mile zone. So when I first bought that land, my understanding was I could develop the whole thing with a lot similar to the Linwood subdivision across the street. And then upon visiting with Mike Hall, he said, no, we're not going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to do that on 20% of it. So that left the remaining acreage, and we tried to find a way to make that work. Well, the remaining acreage was so large that we had to go through a variance to allow for private sanitation for those, even though the sewer was somewhat close, but it was just kind of a strange deal. And in fact, I've never seen anything like it since then. So nobody told me that this was going to be a big deal when I met with Bob, is that right? We talked about it, and I thought I had conveyed that we have two 20-acre lots, that they're being treated differently. He took it as they could be developed. I didn't intentionally mislead him on that. I've never seen this before. So, in my logic, nobody told me it was going to be a big deal. When I filed a petition, which I have a copy of, it excluded lots 9 and 10. And when I marketed it, I told the people that it wouldn't have specials and that the other ones would. And then when everybody bought a house there, we disclosed what the engineer's estimates on specials were. And that didn't change. If anything, it went down from what they were told. So anybody who came and said, hey, this isn't fair, I understand where they're coming from, but their dollar amount actually went down from what they were told originally. So I would please beg that you don't double assess those two lots that I have left, because you're going to make them a lot less marketable, and it's going to make it tough in an environment that you don't have to take my word for it. You go read, and you'll see that it's a little tougher right now to be in the developing and the building world. And so if push come to shove, I would encourage you to add the other two lots. But what I'd really like to see is what I originally petitioned for. I understand it doesn't look fair. I wish I would have known now what I would have known then, and I wouldn't have done this. I don't want to make anybody's lives harder. I want to be a good partner. And I mean, Shawnee County and Topeka has been a great market for us and our company, and proud to be a part of it. So I just hopeful that we can come up with something that allows us to stay in business and do our best to make everybody happy when we know that can be challenging. So.
real quick, so those two lots are currently for sale?
No, they were sold fairly quickly, and they each have a home built, or the one has a home built. I don't know about the other one. We weren't the builder on it. If they built something, the road goes too far back in there, I don't know.
I think Eric was talking about your lots.
Yeah, not the two large lots.
So the two lots
but
that I have left.
the two
one's
lots that are in your
One's
name.
a spec home that's for sale, the other's a custom home. I'd probably lose the custom home if I say, hey, your specials are doubling. And I don't even understand how, in retrospect, we can go back and do that. It seems kind of is punitive the right word? Like, I didn't even know that this could be done. I mean, again, had I known then what I know now, I wouldn't have excluded those two lots, because I didn't realize that Bob's approach would be to, hey, we're just gonna go double charge you on your other two lots. I want to be a good partner, and that seems somewhat punitive. It'll be tough for us business-wise to overcome that.
Any questions?
No.
Does anyone else wish to speak on this matter?
Let me make a comment based on Betty's question to me. Whatever's assessed, the homeowners are gonna have a period of time to prepay all or a portion of the assessment. Typically, it's all. For Doltmeyer's, for example, he's done some prepayments partially to reduce the overall per lot. So he spreads it out with all of the lots. But that's typically not the case. Typically, the case is you set a date, and it's usually a date within 15 to 30 days customarily, where each homeowner has X number of days to prepay the assessment, all of it. You have the authority to say all or portion of it. I just need to know what, at the end of that period of time, what the prepayments are, because what's unpaid will be part of the general obligation bond issue that Betty and I and the guys at Stiefel and Cindy have to figure out to size the bond issue. And Mike's, just so it's clear here, is I did not mean to imply or state that I was misled. I said I made an assumption based upon experience. It just would have been nice that somebody would have said, hey, we're not putting these in because of X, Y, and Z. They can't be developed.
Sorry, one last comment. In fairness, I have never seen anything like that with those two larger acreage lots. This is my second subdivision, so I think if, we do have more land up north in the future, I think I'll be a lot more educated on not excluding anything, and hopefully, work more effectively with Bob to make sure whatever we come up with is fair to everybody, so.
Maybe we have a need to go into executive session.
I think we need to let everybody
Oh, we have
speak.
somebody else? Oh, I'm sorry, didn't see him.
Good morning, my name's Matt. I'm one of the residents on that Green Hills Point Road. Just throwing out a suggestion, I don't know how it could work, because I know there's an existing contract with lots 9 and 10 up that road. They're being excluded because they're on their own septic. Is there a way to prorate that out, so they're only paying for the amenities from the road and the sidewalk and the curb cuts they have, but they're being excluded from the cost for their septic that they've already made a deal for? So that would be my suggestion to consider, but I do understand it's a difficult decision, because either way, someone's eating the cost. So, thank you.
Bob, yeah. Hasn't that already been done?
Matt, when we created the district, that in and of itself is a sub-taxing district. It's a separate and distinct taxing entity. If we're to enlarge that, we must start over. Okay? It's all part of what's all at one. Yeah, this is her pets.
All right.
It's a question of whether you need to vote, or whether you are ready to vote, or whether you would like to discuss this with legal counsel only further.
I don't know how the other commissioners feel, but maybe we should go into session for, that might be best. I'm going to move that we go into executive session for a period not to exceed 20 minutes for the following reasons. For consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged, and an attorney-client relationship specifically to discuss Green Hill Point subdivision. Action is possible following this executive session. So, Bob, do you want to join us?
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Yes, they were changing a filter right before the meeting, and it didn't get pushed shut.
We are back in public hearing, and Commissioner Mays, you have a,
Yeah, so after discussion, I think we're in an unfortunate situation here where I think there's some circumstances of the timing of when all this happened and COVID shutdowns and things like that. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to lower the special assessment tax. And so I would make a motion that we lower the amount per lot from $20,625 to an even $19,000 on all 16 lots, and that the prepayment date would be June 5th of 2023. Yeah.
Before you actually make that motion formally, you're going to need to move to close the public.
And I'll move to close the public hearing at the same time. Thanks, Bob.
I'll second that.
Second, go ahead.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. All right. Next item.
Okay, item 3, consent agenda.
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
Well,
Wait,
hold on.
I think we have I think there's item.
There,
to be
we do
pulled.
need to
Pull
make a
item.
motion to pull
Oh.
item K from the consent, so 3K.
Okay,
And maybe there's some questions that kind of came up on it, just to clarify, and then we'll have that resubmitted at a later time.
Okay, do we have to vote to pull that? Yes. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries. So we'll be pulling K.
so you can,
All right. Other than that, I will.
I'm
move-
going to rescind my motion.
Okay,
And then I'll second.
all right.
Vote on that.
Motion's been made by Commissioner May, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries 3-0. All right. Other than that, I will move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business, A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
We have 2 vouchers this morning, Commissioners, as we did not have a meeting on April the 26th, or 27th, rather. Our first voucher is $1,593,710.11. The highlights out of that voucher report we have for, under County Project Federal Grant, Axon Enterprise of $45,231.75 for tasers and equipment for Department of Corrections. Under the general expense, KC Presort LLC, $51,750 for voter registration postcards. Under workers' compensation, Department of Labor, $44,642.88, Department of Labor work comp assessment. Our second voucher is $3,360,910.24. And under that, the highlights, under building maintenance, we have Rail Works Track Service LLC for $69,606 for the Gauge Mini Train Track Repair. Torgenson Electric Company for $12,662.67 for chargers for the Gauge Park Mini Train. Under infrastructure, SBB Engineering LLC for $66,870 for plans and specifications for Southwest Nottingham Road from 33rd to Southwest 37th. And then under the sheriff, JR Audio Incorporated for $24,875 for push bumpers and replacement seat systems, and Cine and Company for $15,150 for ceiling replacement in the crime center in the sheriff's office. I do not have any questions regarding the vouchers, would move for their approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I will move that we approve the correction orders.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item B, Public Works, number 1, consider awarding a bid to Sunflower Paving, Inc. of Lawrence, Kansas for the north parking lot repairs at the Adult Detention Center at a cost of $92,530, and authorization and execution. Contract C-144-2023 for the same. The project will be paid for by using the building roof and parking lot fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. Yes, on April 19th, we had a bid letting. We had 2 bidders. Great bids, pretty close together. They were less than the engineer's estimate. The low bid was submitted by Sunflower Paving at $92,530. I'm here before you asking you to authorize and execute a contract for those construction services. The work will involve some concrete repairs and some asphalt milling and overlay work. I look forward to your questions.
Any questions?
I'll move for approval.
I just want to ask, what's the timeline on this project?
The project, good question. The project will start April 15th. At least we'll issue a notice to proceed on April 15th. The work has to be done by June 30th. I've been working with the DOC folks to coordinate the work. There may be temporary parking lot closures, and I think everything's good to go.
Okay. Did I hear a motion?
Yes, a motion.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Mace, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Next item.
Item C, Emergency Management, number 1, consider approval of the 2023 Tuition Assistance Resolution number 2023-29, which sets forth the processes and procedures for the tuition assistance provided by the American Medical Response, AMR, as a part of Contract C-207-2016.
Morning, Commissioners. Nelson Castle Ambulance Compliance. This is one of 2 resolutions in front of you today. When we made the changes to the ambulance resolution a couple weeks ago, this is one of those that we needed to revise. As a reminder, AMR is a part of Contract C 2007-2016. They provide $10,000 per year to first responders for tuition assistance, tuition reimbursement. This just outlines how that process works and what those monies can be spent on, and some reporting back to ensure that they're doing it appropriately. I would stand for any questions.
Questions?
Move for approval?
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item C2, consider approval of resolution number 2023-30, setting forth the processes and procedures for the first responder grants that are available as a part of the fines, penalties assessed to AMR in accordance with Contract C-207-2016.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Nelson Castile Ambulance Compliance. This is the first responder grant program for specific long responses that AMR has. They are assessed a penalty or fine. Those fine monies are put into a special revenue account, and every June 1st, the monies are made available for application to the first responder organizations that are listed there in the memo. This just outlines the procedure that changed due to the resolution we changed a couple weeks ago. I would stand for any questions.
Questions? I would move for approval of the
Second.
resolution. Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you,
Nelson.
Commissioners.
Next item.
Item D, Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider approval of a request to use contingency funds for the sole source purchase repair of the Central Park Community Center elevator at a cost of $159,993, and authorization and execution of contract C-145-2023 for same.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. Our elevator at the Oakland Community Center is not functioning. MEI, the company that we'd like to go with to do the repairs, are the ones that really alerted us to the issues that we were having, and eventually asked us to shut it down, so because it was getting to be in an unsafe situation. We'd like to move forward with this and use contingency funds. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
As part of these repairs, is there any upgrades we need to
Yeah.
make to the
Yeah, sorry
cab.
sorry to interrupt. Yes, I think as part of this process would be making the repairs and then updating it, modernizing the elevator itself.
Okay, so it'd meet all standards now, all the
Yes.
current standards?
Correct.
Any questions?
Time frame on getting this done?
I think, I don't have an exact time frame, but my understanding is that it'd move pretty quickly once we get approval, that it shouldn't take too long. I think there are some things they'll have to order, and that would be the longest wait.
I just know that it's taken a while. When we had work done here at the 707 Quincy, when we
Right.
had work done at the courthouse, when the city of Topeka had work done, so I mean, it may take more time than you think, just
I
with
believe
delays.
I'm trying to find it. I thought there was a date in here where it had to be done by. I'm not finding it right away, but I'll look into it and I can let you know for sure.
I do know we have an alternate access to the basement. It's kind of a
We do.
long roundabout way, but there is access to it. So, Commissioner Mays?
Tim, I think there's a possibility that we're going to be renovating this community center at some point. So we have a limited amount of contingency funds, and this is $160,000 from that. Now, I know this, obviously, we have to fix the elevator, but do we need to improve the elevator and modernize it at the same time? Do we know the difference between what it would cost to just make it safe and operational versus redoing it?
Well, my understanding on the upgrades and the making it more modern, is that we would be meeting the codes that we're required to meet, not necessarily trying to design a beautiful elevator. But I can definitely find out. I mean, if there's some cost savings. I think we're probably bare bones at this, just getting it up to code.
Well, if that's the case, then that's what it is. But at the same time, like, just knowing that we're going to be spending a lot of money in that community center in the future, at least theoretically we are, you know, if it's not more appropriate to put the cost of that into the project fund rather than out of contingency. I mean, obviously we need to get the elevator running. Like, I understand that. We want to make it safe for people that need it. But at the same time, I don't want to overdo it if we don't.
Okay.
I mean, if it's not the appropriate source of funds, so.
Right. Well, I have no problem finding out. If there's things that we've added, Darren Bowden was here, but he had a previous engagement, so he had to go. He probably could speak to exactly what's being done, but I'd be happy to go back and find out exactly what, you know, if there's anything we could cut.
Betty, please.
Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. If there is a project in the near future, within this year, that is set up for this with a different funding source, this expense could be transferred from contingency to that project and then contingency reimbursed. But it would have to be within this calendar year.
Tim, as part of the renovations to Central Park, was the elevator included in that at the time, or was it?
The renovations that have taken place at Central Park since I've been here have all been in the basement, in the offices. We have quite a few staff members at office there. We currently don't have, the next community center that we would be looking at updating would be Oakland Billard, or
Okay.
the Oakland Community Center. So I think
We're ways off. We're
I
not-
think you're
and
quite
not
a
in
ways
this year
off
for
before
sure.
we start doing
Okay.
anything substantial at Central Park.
I just feel like in the spirit of the ADA, maybe we should go ahead with this project, because that's really our access to the first floor, or the basement floors, so.
Yeah.
And Tim, as to your timeline, due to unprecedented supply chain disruptions, MEI is unable to guarantee an exact start or completion date on this project. MEI will communicate with our material supplier and make every effort to meet the desired schedule.
Yeah,
So,
There you have
yeah.
All right.
Pretty open-ended, isn't
it.
it?
It is.
Okay, well, I'll move for approval.
I will second. Motion's been made by Commissioner May, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D2, consider authorization and execution of contract C-146-2023 with Game Time, CO Cunningham Rec for the purchase and installation of playground equipment and engineered wood fiber surfacing in the Chesney Park at a cost of $146,953.96, including delivery and installation. The purchase is through the Omni U.S. Communities Cooperative with funding provided by the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So as the clerk stated, we are asking to use ARPA funds, and this was money that you, part of the $1 million that you awarded for parks and playgrounds. We are using a purchasing co-op to do this. This is a company that we've worked with many times, so we're comfortable with what they do. It's turnkey, so they'll come in and remove the existing equipment and then replace it with the new. This is the equipment that we're buying, so that's the rendering that they put together to show us what it would look like. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I noticed they have engineered wood fiber surfacing.
Yeah.
Is that a lot less money than the crumb rubber that we?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it is, and that's why we're using it. But we also, as part of this project, they are going in and putting, you can even see it in the diagram or in the drawing, they are doing concrete curbing around the entire thing, which is what we would do if we were using pour and play surfacing. And so the thought process was to try to get as much equipment as we could with this funds. We would come back later. We have a contract with a company that does all of our pour and play, and we would do the pour and play at a later date. Probably not this year, but as the wood chips, you know very well that when you put wood chips down, that's a maintenance issue in itself. You're having to go back and add and do things. So we will eventually, the plan is to use pour and play at this location, pour and play safety surfacing.
Is the wood fiber considered accessible?
It is not considered accessible.
Okay.
Because I mean, I'm just going to be honest, technically it isn't. Now, as part of our ADA transition plan that we did a couple of years ago, they identified, they went through all 75 of our playgrounds. And they identified the ones that are accessible and then what we need to do to make the others. Their recommendation was that we add 12 more accessible playgrounds, and that would put us about where we need to be overall. I think since then we've done one. This was not one of them that they recommended. What they were trying to do as part of that plan was spread this across the city so that we were covering each of the quadrants, so to speak.
Okay.
And that's what we're trying to do. The ultimate goal, however, would be to make all of them as accessible as possible. So I understand why you're questioning it.
Would we have, as part of this project, would you have an accessible route to the place?
Yes, yeah. As far as being able to
Sidewalk.
get there, sidewalks, we're taking care of that. But once you get to that spot, you're not going to be able to pull unless it's really worn down. If that fiber is the way it should be, those wood chips, you're not going to be able to push a wheelchair through there very easily. Just to be honest.
I just hate to create a new playground and not have it accessible,
I understand that.
especially where we're down, what'd you say, 14 that we?
12.
12.
I think down to 11 now.
You know what the price difference would be from going from wood fiber to?
It's a pretty big space, so I think you're talking about, I'm just going to throw an estimate out here, and I want to reiterate it's an estimate. But I think you're looking at least another $40,000 probably to do that space.
And if we were to do that, we'd just have to reduce the size of the play equipment then, to reduce the project?
You know what I would rather do is if we want to make this change, I'm not opposed to it. I would be fine with bringing this back and trying to look at how we could make that happen. I think that's a worthwhile investment, and I could get some concrete numbers on what it would cost to do it.
You know, I think that's what I would prefer. I don't know. I just hate to create something new.
I'm fine with that. I'm actually okay with that. I think it's a good idea.
Tim, part of this estimate, $7,300 for removal and disposal of the existing equipment. When they say dispose, what exactly do they mean?
It goes away. It gets probably put in the landfill.
So I understand that this equipment might not be in the condition that we like it for one of our parks, but would there be a way that we could repurpose this for maybe daycares or churches around the city or county that we could, you know, either give it to or sell it for really cheap? I mean, to pay someone to dispose of it rather than maybe repurposing it for a local nonprofit or something, I think might be something worthwhile.
And I think that question has come up periodically, and it becomes an issue of potential liability back to the county. Is that correct, Mr. Crowell?
Yes.
Is there not a way that we could
We-
have a waiver?
We've looked at that in the past for repurposing play equipment, and everyone has said no. It's, when you give it away, it's still, there's some liability that comes back on the county in this situation, so.
Can we continue to look into that and see if there's a way that we might be able to figure it out? I mean,
Would be, this Jim Crow, Shawnee County Councilor, would be happy to look at that.
thanks.
One thing I'd like to add to that conversation is to take it out and do it so that you could repurpose it. You could do that. That's going to make that it's going to be a lot more time. You're going to have to take a lot more care, and you're going to have a place to put it. One of the keys, one of the reasons that we don't do that, or that we do the turnkey, is because, quite honestly, taking staff off what they're doing on a regular basis to try to do these kind of projects hurts us. I know when I started here about 4 years ago or so, and we did that 11 playgrounds all at the same time, and staff had to go in and pull out all the old playgrounds and prep them, and then go back and do all the backfilling and all the work. All the company did was install the equipment. And then the next year rolled around, and I was standing up here talking about dandelions. You remember that conversation? That's because I had my park staff out doing this at 11 different parks when they weren't out putting down pre-emergent and doing things they needed to do. So that's just something to think about. I understand where you're coming from. If we can repurpose it and that works, great, but there is some time. It does impact us in that way.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm hearing is that you want to would like me to bring this back and with some additional.
I'd like for you to come back and tell us what the difference would be if we went with crumb rubber and made it totally accessible, and
Absolutely.
and that would be one off our list then.
Okay, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
So you're making a motion to defer?
Defer for how much time you need, a week?
I think we can get it on next week.
Okay. We'll defer it till, I don't know what the,
Second.
motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
That would be May 11th, I believe.
What's that?
May 11th, I believe.
May 11th is when we'll come back on this issue. Okay. Next item.
Item D3, consider authorization and execution of contract C-147-2023 with Nuco Pump Sales and Services for the emergency purchase of the Cypress Ridge Irrigation Control Panel at a cost of $59,177, utilizing the Gulf Revolving Fund.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation. So, I don't know if you remember, I think it was about 2 years ago, we had this same situation happen at the lake, at the golf course at Lake Shawnee. So, these panels control all of the irrigation. That's a big deal. And, notice down here at the bottom of the memo, I think it says we're looking at 8 to 10 weeks if we order it now. And that's getting us right into the summer. And, we really can't afford to be without irrigation at that time. So the good news is, as the clerk said, this will come out of our revolving fund, so we're not asking for, there'd be no taxpayer money spent on this, and we'd like to get it ordered and start moving on the project.
The revolving fund is money Generated by.
Generated by the
So
user fee,
The
by the
users are
users, yeah.
basically paying for this.
Yeah.
I would move that we, oh, you have a question, sorry.
So Tim, it looks like we got 15 years out of the one that we have now.
Yeah.
Is that good? I don't know on these water,
I don't know.
okay.
I don't know. I can't answer that question. It seems to me like we ought to get more than 15 years. That 15 years doesn't sound like that long to me. I think the one, if I remember right, that we did at the lake was much older than that. We actually got more years out of it. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, well, it looks like it's a 2-year warranty.
Yeah. I will tell you, there's been a tremendous amount of improvements and changes. I did learn a lot about that and the differences between these new panels and what they can do. You're going to gain a lot in efficiencies and in theory, some water savings and things like that based on these new panels. But so that'll be nice, and you should hopefully see. I'd like to say you'll see some improvements in the course, but I played that course last weekend, and I'm not sure it can get any better. That
already
thing
in
looks
great shape.
amazing right now.
Well, we might want to check on the one at Forbes just to make sure.
Forbes looks good too.
I'll second your motion.
All right. I had one other question. Did we bid this project, or was this just?
We did not bid this project, and the reason that we didn't, this is the company that we used to do the last one. I'm going to be real honest. If they have a temporary, one, we've used them before. Two, they're the ones that do the maintenance on our pumps and irrigation systems now. Three, they have a loaner that they'll put in if we move forward with them that will work until we get the new one in. So it eliminates the chance that we'll be without water. And so for those reasons, I'd like to use them moving forward.
Is there a problem with supply on getting these pumps?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Just like everything else.
Yep. I will move for approval then.
I've seconded.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item E, Health Department, number 1, consider approval for the Shawnee County Health Department to apply for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention overdose data to action limiting overdose through collaborative actions in localities. Phew. Could you not come up with that easy there, Brian? Grant.
Good morning, Commissioners. Craig Barnes, Health Department. Apologies to the clerk. We always seem to have the long-winded actions and difficult words, so apologies there. Pretty straightforward request today. We're asking for approval to apply for the OD2A local grant through the CDC. This is a highly competitive federal grant that will be funding only 40 communities throughout the nation. We're working here to put our best foot forward. As you saw within the packet, we don't have the entire grant application completed at this point in time. We are finalizing some of those partnership aspects of development and collecting letters of support that will go along with that. The primary focus of this grant, it's a 5-year grant if awarded, is to look at in really year 1, where we focus the bulk of the application is developing the capacity and doing some of the assessment and data gathering in year 1 so that we can then interpret that data to create effective interventions with our partners within the community to look at opioid overdoses and effective interventions to cut down the deaths due to overdose burden in our community. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have today.
Greg, is there any monetary match on this, or is this just?
Yeah, so no cost sharing or match required by the county for this application. Great question.
All right.
So let's say you get the $1 million maximum. What would Shawnee County be doing?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think, I don't think we anticipate doing the $1 million. The $1 million would be if we were applying for all 3 components of this grant. We will be focusing our efforts in component A of this specific grant. So there are a multitude of levels, if you will, to this grant application. And so for communities that would be getting the $1 million, you're looking at communities that would be applying for all 3 components. We're looking primarily at the data gathering and the assessment, the linkages to care and the harm reductions and stigma reduction pieces of this. So what we're looking at primarily for the focus of the dollar amounts that we're looking at is a community assessment, creating capacity through staff and contracts within our community. One of the big things that we're looking at is trying to be proactive and looking forward to how we can create a system and a structure and a foundation in our community to address how we may be able to handle the influx of opioid settlement dollars in the future. If we look at case study for how tobacco settlement dollars were then spread out into the community to impact different public health initiatives, we wanted to be able to create some capacity to work with our community partners to develop and be more proactive than reactive if those dollars do come available.
So we're going to look at how we spent our money and whether or not it was effective to tell people how to spend their money?
No, so my apologies if that's how that came across. No, so we are looking at how to assess our community, what the full impact and the burden is in our community as it relates to opioid. The health department has never really taken a lead or facilitated the efforts in opioid overdose. And so at this point in time in our community, I think there's a little bit of a gap on how and what the true impact is in our community. So the first year is truly an effort to look at and analyze what that could be. And so if opioid settlement dollars come available to the health department or to community partners, a goal of this project is to create a structure and a foundation to be able to implement appropriate interventions in the community, whether that's through community partnerships and opportunities they may have through their access to opioid settlement dollars, or potentially even the health department looking forward.
Does this grant just focus on opioid, or is fentanyl and?
Yeah, so it is polysubstances, this is fentanyl, this would be opioids, the whole gambit as it relates to the overdose burden.
I see
Good
where there
question.
was a bill passed recently on approving strips for identifying fentanyl. Would that be something that?
Potentially, I would have to look into that a little bit more. I know one of the things that we can't use dollars within here are specific clinical things, like we can't do like buy Narcan to provide to community partners and things of that sort. So we'd have to look at how the strips in that effort may fall within the guidelines from the CDC. I'd have to look into that a little bit more.
Any other questions? I would move for approval then.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you,
Craig.
Commissioners.
Next item.
Item F, Court Administration, number 1, consider a request for approval to purchase under state contract courtroom gallery seating and furnishings through Interior Landscapes for the amount of $74,014.98. Funding for this purchase was previously approved as an ARPA SLFRF expense.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lee Welch, Court Administrator, 3rd Judicial District. As the clerk indicated, funding for this request has already been approved. I'm simply asking for a request to purchase courtroom seating through the state contract from Interior Landscapes. This will provide new seating for 3 courtrooms on the 3rd floor, the two new courtrooms in the basement, as well as one of the jury trial courtrooms on the 4th floor.
Questions?
Second, motion. All motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
Jump around there a little bit.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Next item.
Item F2, consider request to
another one.
approve and accept change order number 1 to contract C-119-2022 with funding from 2020 capital improvement projects for courtroom 308 casework. This change order is based solely on the safety of the judge on the bench and would provide for a redesign of the existing courtroom bench area. Due to cost savings recognized and the return of contingency funding totaling $20,000, the court is requesting that the remaining $25,083.44 be paid from the courtroom remodel and cyclical maintenance special project fund. thus resulting in no additional cost to Shawnee County.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lee Welch, Court Administrator, 3rd Judicial District. I'm not sure I can add anything more to what the clerk said. As noted, this was a design that, in all intents, had great intent. Our goal was to provide a handicap-accessible bench in each courtroom. We've since decided that that is simply not feasible in this courtroom. Primarily, that's due to the size of the courtroom. We were only able to increase the platform from ground level 6 inches, which made it a true safety issue for the judge on the bench, because at 5'4", even I could jump over the wall to get to the bench if I needed to or wanted to. It also left the judge in the far corner of the courtroom, away from the door exiting the courtroom into his or her chambers. So the contractor has worked with us. We've come up with another solution that will not leave the bench handicap accessible, but we do have plans with the current courthouse remodeling project that we will have other courtrooms on the 3rd floor that will be handicap accessible. As stated, due to cost savings and return of contingency plus special project funding, this would have no additional budgetary impact on the county. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Commissioner Mays?
Yeah.
The contingency is the contract contingency
Right.
of $8,000.
So unrelated to this particular item, are these design flaws that we have being worked into the designs of the other courtrooms that are going to be remodeled?
Yes. Actually, two different contractors. This 308 courtroom and the 312 courtroom were from 2020 CIP funding, so that was a separate contract, different contracting group. But we have made sure that this sort of layout is not in any of our current courtrooms, or the courtrooms that are already designed for the renovations.
Good. Just want to make sure we weren't going to be back here
No.
having the same conversation.
No, our hope is that, no, we will not be back here for this same conversation.
Okay, appreciate that.
All right.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 5, public comment.
I don't have anyone signed up, but if there's anyone from the public who would wish to speak at this time, come forward. See none. Next item.
Item 6, administrative communications.
Excuse me, Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. I would like to just introduce Adrienne Johnson. She is our new procurement specialist, and I know that a lot of, why don't you come on up here? I know a lot of the departments, even if they're not here today, watch the meetings, so I thought it would be nice for them to be able to put a face with the name. So we are excited to have her here. She will be handling all of the bids that we do for the county.
Welcome aboard, Adrian.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That's great.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Morning, Commissioners. Nelson Castile, Ambulance Compliance Officer. The nurse navigation program kicked off on Tuesday, April 25th. We have seen some really good things come of that, and we'll keep reporting those out to you. We're hoping during the 3-month period to really get a handle on where we have things. And as I mentioned in my other emails, we are starting to get our task forces and working groups and committees together to start working on some strategies and objectives and goals. So you should be seeing emails on those sometime after June 1st.
So it's already cutting some of the
Yes, it has. I just
First
checked,
responders.
there's been 9 calls that did not have to go through the system, and that, when you figure the average call time of a non-transport of 30 minutes and a transport of almost 75 minutes, that has freed up at least 4.5 to 5 trucks during that period.
It sounds like it's working.
Good to hear.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you,
Thank you, Nelson.
Good morning, Commissioner Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. Just like to remind everybody that this Saturday, May 6th, the Household Hazardous Waste is having their Saturday collection event from 9 until noon. So feel free to come on out and drop off any electronic waste or household hazardous waste. Address is 131 Northeast 46th Street. And for more information, please call 286-4381. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Good morning, Commissioners. Larry Moss, Shawnee County Treasurer. I'm very pleased to announce that the Treasurer's Office and the Motor Vehicle Office is back in operation in the courthouse. I'd like to take this opportunity to let the public know we certainly appreciate their patience during the last 3 weeks, and we're happy to be back in operation. As you can tell outside the window here, parking will still be a problem for at least another week from the looks of things. So just be aware of that, but we are up and functioning and doing quite well. And this is also an opportunity to remind you that taxes are due on May the 10th, which is next Wednesday. Since we have a parking challenge, I would recommend that you, if possible, try online or by mail. Our drop box is still functional, though you won't be able to drive up to it. You can walk up to it, and we still collect it every day. You can also drop off at the Motor Vehicle Annex on 17th Street, but again, as in the past, we don't process the payment at that location. We'll bring it downtown, and if you want a receipt, then we'll mail that receipt to you. And we will accept credit card, cash, and checks. Be glad to answer any questions you have.
Questions? Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lee Welch, Court Administrator, 3rd Judicial District. Thought I'd just give you a brief update on our continuing cycle of retiring judges. Judge Rachel Pickering has now been elevated to the Kansas Court of Appeals. We had interviews for her position on April 3rd. The governor has 60 days in which to make her appointment, so on or about June 3rd. I guess in addition, Judge Mary Christopher has announced her retirement July 14th. So applications will be due for that vacancy on June 16th, and interviews for that vacancy will be on July 24th. So we'll hopefully have a new judge in place before Judge Christopher retires.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Just a quick note that summer is right around the corner. Our splash pads will actually open up on the 13th of May, and the pools are scheduled to open up on the 27th of May. I will just put a caveat out there. We've got some issues at Dornwood at the splash pad. We've got some things leaking that we actually thought we had fixed last year, so we're back there again this year trying to figure it out. So hopefully we get that repaired and we are able to open by the 13th. But other than that, things are happening. Yeah.
How about employment for
Yeah.
youth this summer?
I'm glad you asked. So I got an email yesterday from our aquatics supervisor, and he feels great. I mean, he's sent a spreadsheet. He's got everything scheduled. He thinks he needs to hire about 6 more guards to be fully staffed. Here's the caveat, because I got real excited last year at this time when I was hearing the same thing. And I know that HR back here, Angela, will understand this. That's how many people we have applied and who have accepted the positions and have given us their availability. There's still a large portion of them that need to complete their paperwork. Some of them need to get certified, so some of them won't make it through the process. He does feel very optimistic. We are definitely ahead of where we were at this time last year. So I feel optimistic that we're going to be good, but there's still some work to be done.
How about it?
About covering that?
But Tim, you've got positions open in all different fields.
We do.
So we should not be putting out a message that says we've got we need kids, and if you've got kids that need work, we've got work to be done.
I think if I remember correctly, we're looking to hire somewhere around 500 plus part-time, intermediate employees over the summer. And I think we're close to 400 now, or 350 that we've hired. So if people that work in amenities, concession stands, park maintenance, facility maintenance, we've got a lot of jobs open still. We manage to get those done normally. The one that we sweat the most, is lifeguards, but things are looking good.
Very good.
What are the age requirements?
For most of them, you've got to be 16 and up. Some of them are 18 and up, I think, for the maintenance positions. We do go down to 15 now for guards. They have some limited hours and things that some special circumstances they have to follow. And this year, we've actually opened up a intermittent position for 16-year-olds in our horticulture division. So same thing, they've got to be supervised, they can't operate any equipment, they can't be operating anything that moves or cuts other than, pulling weeds, doing that kind of thing. But through that process, I think they're learning about plants and learning about horticulture, so I think that's a great opportunity for kids that are interested in things like that.
Great.
So,
Very good. Thank you,
all
Tim.
right, thank you.
Thanks.
We're going to hear from everybody today.
Call 4-H on that. 4-H has some kids that would do that.
Do they?
Good morning, Commissioners. John Landon, Director of the Weed Department, and kind of save the best for last.
No guarantee you're last, John.
Well, Stephanie, yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to let the public know that we got a full line of chemical in stock. We're not having any shipment problems, so stop by and see us. Great news to share with you as well. Early in the year when we rejected the bids for glyphosate, we're seeing a reduction in price of almost $2 a gallon. So, it's great news. I don't think many other people can share no shipment problems and a reduction in price. So come by and see us for all your chemical stuff.
Okay. Thanks, John.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Stephanie Cuomo with the Shawnee County Commission Office. The May County Connections newsletter has been published to our website. It's very easy to get to. You'll start at our Shawnee County homepage, www.snco.us. At the top of the screen, you'll see a list of departments. Select Commission, and on the Commission homepage, select the link that says Newsletter. The Weed Department is the Feature Department is the Shawnee County Weed Department, and they are located at 2044 Southwest Western Avenue. They monitor the control of noxious weed infestations on all county-owned property and right-of-ways. The Weed Department is responsible to maintain the vegetation at the Kansas River levee. It is 60 feet wide. Their trucks reach about 40 feet of that, which leaves 20 feet that are unsafe for an employee to walk down the rocks. The solution? They contracted with a company to use a drone to spray the weeds. This drone had an 8-gallon spray tank. The blades and rotors force the drone near the ground with very little drift of the chemical spray. This has been a great solution to get the job done right and keep our employees safe. Tour of Topeka is a free event going on this Saturday, May 6th, to celebrate the connecting of Shawnee County Parks and Recreation's trail system across the community. Festivities will begin at Dornwood Park at 9 a.m. You can choose to run, walk, or ride your bike. For more details, visit Parks and Rec Facebook page. Shawnee County milestones are employees that are celebrating work anniversaries in 5-year increments. Betty Greiner, Director of Audit Finance, has been with the county for 10 years. Jennifer Zimmerman at the Health Department has been with us for 15 years. Kevin Horn of Department of Corrections and Larry Houseworth of Solid Waste have 20 years. Ernest Toney and Rob Chrisman, both at Department of Corrections, have 25 years. And Julie Heinrich of the Sheriff's Office has been with us for 35 years. Congratulations to all the employees that are celebrating work anniversaries with Shawnee County. Some upcoming events in May. Mondays, we have some scheduled county work sessions that start at 9 a.m. Thursdays, we have our normally scheduled commission meetings at 9. However, on Monday, May 29th, it's Memorial Day, so county offices will be closed. Be sure to check out more stories and videos in the May newsletter. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Save the best for last, I guess.
And it was John.
Commissioner Cook?
I'll let Commissioner Mays add.
You have anything to?
Well, I don't know, did either of you guys go to Foreigner?
I did not.
I didn't either, but I heard a lot of great things, saw some good videos on the news and on social media and stuff, and so it sounds like it was a very successful event, almost to capacity from what I understand. I was told that the acoustics in the venue were much better because of the masking curtains that we put up a while back, so that's always good to hear. The other day I was out at Bettis Sports Park and the installation of the sunshades has started. And it's a bigger project than I thought it was going to be. It looks pretty impressive from what I can tell so far, but there is a construction site out there, so if you're out there with your kids, be safe. You know, we had that conversation about elevators earlier. Do you guys remember how long we talked about the elevators at the courthouse and how happy we were to finally be done with that? We've had 2 more elevators go down since then, so it appears to be a never-ending cycle. But then also there's a big announcement at Washburn this afternoon. Be paying attention to that. I've not been told the specifics of it, but I've heard that it's a very big announcement, so looking forward to find out.
Secret. Commissioner Mays, or Commissioner Cook?
Nope, nothing additional.
I really don't have anything additional. I wanted to mention we will have a work session Monday. We're going to talk about Gage Park Improvement Authority and what's going on there. So Tim, we'll see you on Monday. What's next?
Item 7, executive session.
Okay, we do have a need for an executive session. I'm going to move that we go into executive session for a period not to exceed 45 minutes for the following reasons: for consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in an attorney-client relationship, specifically for contract negotiations involving the acquisition of property. We've set aside 30 minutes for that. And also for consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in an attorney-client relationship, specifically regarding possible adoption of a county resolution. We have 15 minutes set aside for that. So let's start at 10:40. That'll give us a few minutes to sign some papers.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you for Okay, we are back in session. No actions taken at this time, so we're adjourned. Thank you.